This is truly sensational news that has put the Kremlin on edge. Ukraine quietly published two announcements that change the strategic picture of this war. The first one: Ukraine is developing the Ruta Block 3 cruise missile with a range of 2,000 kilometers. Basically, it's a cheaper counterpart to the American Tomahawk missile, which has already attracted the interest of the Germans, since Trump refused to transfer his Tomahawks to them. Second, the Ukrainian company Brave One has created its first domestically produced guided aerial bomb. And what's important is that it's already ready for combat use. This will significantly change the structure of the front line. In general, we'll analyze both cases in this episode. My name is Alexei Pechi. Let's discuss this topic together. But first, I ask you to subscribe to this YouTube channel, give it a like, and write any comment you want. And before we begin, just a second of your time, because this episode is brought to you with the support of the Preply platform. This is a Ukrainian platform for online foreign language tutors. There are about 100,000 teachers and 90 languages there. It's perfect for those of you who, for example, are living abroad and learning German, English, Polish, or really any language. And what's very important for you is that right now they have a 50% discount on the first lesson. That's why there's a link in the description of this video, and by following it, you'll immediately get a 50% discount from the YouTube channel Alexei Pechi. Now let's move on to the episode. So Ukraine has just unveiled two new missiles. Let's start with the Ruta Block 3 missile, because 2,000 kilometers is a number that really needs to be understood in the context of this war. This is a range that allows strikes from central Ukraine against Moscow, St. Petersburg, Yekaterinburg, and so on, basically across most of Russia. This is a fundamentally different scale of war. It is noted that Destinus is a Dutch developer that worked with Ukrainians in partnership. They are already supplying Ukraine with Ruta cruise missiles, previous versions for actual strikes against Russia. That means they are already being used. But these missiles don't reach as far as we would like. That's why right now the Block 2 missile is undergoing flight tests. That is Ruta Block 2. It has a range of 700 kilometers and it should go into mass production already this year. And at the same time, this same company, Destinus, announced the development of the Block 3 missile with a range of up to 2,000 kilometers. And here are the missile specifications according to Defense Express. Warhead: 250 kilograms thermal imaging seeker, developed specifically with manufacturers, designed to operate where Russia jams GPS. The new Destinus T220 turbojet engine, currently in development, launches from standardized containers. So it's important to understand that this platform can be launched from virtually anywhere, and flight tests are scheduled for 2027. And here Defense Express gives such an accurate assessment. Quote, "A cheap cruise missile with the ability to hit targets at a distance of 2,000 kilometers. This is a very good prospect that will allow us to supplement the deep strike drone arsenal. Accordingly, it will be possible to carry out more strikes on remote targets in the Russian Federation." In other words, essentially, this is an opportunity to carry out more strikes on targets deep inside Russia, and it's cheaper than it is now. For comparison, an American Tomahawk costs from $1 to $2 million each. And the Ruta missile is significantly cheaper with a comparable range. And here is the crucial point, which indicates that this is no longer just a theory. The fact is that the Ministry of Defense of Ukraine has officially decided on the future production of this missile. This means that orders for this missile have already been placed. The production of Ruta Block 2 is being carried out in partnership with the German company Rheinmetall. Mind you, the Block 3 missile will be produced there as well, which enables scaling, so this is already a Dutch-German-Ukrainian project. Defense Express specifically emphasizes this. The European Union is experiencing a shortage of its own long-range weapons. European counterparts are only just returning to production. American Tomahawks are in question. That's why the emergence of more affordable alternatives makes more than enough sense. Now about the new guided aerial bomb. The Minister of Defense of Ukraine, Mikhailo Fedorov, wrote today, "We continue to develop Ukrainian high-tech solutions for the front lines. A Brave One participant has created the first Ukrainian guided aerial bomb. It has already passed the necessary tests and is ready for combat use. The development took 17 months. So let me give you the technical specifications of this Brave One aerial bomb. The warhead is also 250 kilograms, and Fedorov emphasized that this is a unique design unlike any other. It's unlike Russian missiles or the American JDAM-ER. The Ministry of Defense has already purchased the first experimental batch of these guided bombs. Pilots are already practicing combat scenarios and adapting the use of the new weapon in real wartime conditions. So, it's not about a prototype appearing sometime in the future anymore. No, this is already a mass-produced item that's already in the hands of Ukrainian pilots. These Ukrainian pilots are already practicing the use of these guided bombs, and that's great news. Why is this strategically important? Let me explain it in a few points. The introduction of this guided bomb is a really important moment. First, autonomy. Ukraine did not receive guided bombs from its Western allies. Neither Germany nor the US, with their heavier bombs, have actually supplied Ukraine with guided aerial bombs on a large scale. They did supply them, but only in rather limited quantities. Now Ukraine has its own. There's no need to ask anymore. The second point is asymmetry. Russia uses glide bombs, and in fact thousands of them each month. This is their main tool for destroying Kharkiv, Zaporizhzhia, Kherson region, and all the regions adjacent to the front. This is a cheap weapon used on a massive scale. Now Ukraine has its own counterpart, and it is already in production. The third thing is, as they say, a sign of the moment. Both announcements, the Ruta Block 3 missile and the Brave 1 guided bomb, are coming out on the same day. On the day when everyone was still in shock when 556 drones flew over Moscow. I think this is a message to Russians. While you are hitting us, we are creating what we will strike you with tomorrow, and we will strike where you least expect it. The fourth is the European dimension. Defense Express specifically emphasizes the production of the Ruta missile is being carried out through a partnership with the German company Rheinmetall, one of the largest defense corporations in Europe. This means that this missile is not only Ukrainian, it is a product of European-Ukrainian defense integration. Europe is getting its own affordable long-range strike capability without relying on the American Tomahawk, which Trump refused to sell to Germany. The fifth is a signal for negotiations. Any negotiations on Ukraine, if they ever finally move to a substantive level, will take place against the backdrop of Ukraine possessing weapons with a range of up to 2,000 kilometers. This, as you understand, changes the negotiating position. The global context is also important here. The war with Iran has depleted the Pentagon's stockpiles. Against this backdrop, Ukraine is developing and producing missiles with a range of 2,000 kilometers together with the European company Rheinmetall, without American orders and without American money. This is strategic independence for Ukraine and Europe. Exactly when Washington, is itself looking for something to fight with. And one last important point. Defense Express emphasizes this separately. Launching the Ruta missile from standardized containers is not just a matter of convenience. It's the ability to use this missile from different carriers and platforms. It's about operational flexibility, plus a thermal imaging seeker for operation in GPS jamming conditions. Russia is actively jamming satellite navigation over its own territory. Accordingly, the Ruta Block 3 missile is specifically designed so that this is not a problem at all. And here's an important conclusion. This is a situation where Ukraine is not asking for help. Ukraine itself is producing strategic weapons and, moreover, can offer them to its allies. I'll leave it at that. Your opinion, your conclusions, write them in the comments under this episode. Subscribe to the channel, click the bell, and don't forget to like. If you want to support the work of this YouTube channel, you can do so by donating via the links and details in the description of this video. That's all for now. Take care of yourselves. Goodbye, everyone.